film, I have a pretty solid ending where almost everything is explained, and I'm gonna give that a try now just to see if that's more satisfying.
Yeah.
I like the end of the Purgation. I liked to have to think about what just happened. I liked having to watch it again and work it through. Because sometimes endings are so to the point that that can make it unsatisfying. Where you're like, oh, well, that's it. It's over. But yours is like, wait, what? Is he dead? What just happened? I love that.
I'm glad you love that. Thanks for saying that, Kimberly. Yeah, I mean, the ending was satisfying to me, and I think, Carlos, this is probably something you should think about. Do you want to make yourself happy, or do you want to make your audience happy?
It's true. That's true. And I think it depends on the audience too, like that you're shooting for, because if you're going for like film fans, they are more likely to want to dig into what the meaning of the movie was, and they're more willing to connect all the dots and the pieces and that you've given them. Whereas if you're just going for something crowd friendly, yeah, they kind of just want the answers, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Actually, so just thinking about all the critics that wrote reviews, almost all of the critics that were straight up horror critics, they actually did like the movie. It's the more broad, critics that were confused and
Right.
had more to say.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
That makes
definitely
sense.
changed the perspective.
I think horror fans really like we like to be able to dig into something.
Mm.
I mean, for me especially, like I just, pardon the pun, I want to get to the guts of it. Like I want to, I want to be able to to tear it apart and see the inside of it and track it and follow it and see the universe that's being built around it and through it and within it. And I thought Purgation did for me a fantastic job. The way that everything was it was a nice slow burn story, and it had a lot of really well laid out twists. The visuals were just are stunning. Everything that was done in the basement in the asylum, visually it was incredibly stunning. I really want to know about the blacklight tiger painting that you kept cutting to. I can't quite figure out the significance of that piece, but overall it was just it was a visually stunning movie, and Kimberly and I have had a nice chat about our interpretations of the ending prior to your coming on, and I love things like that can just open up conversation and provide differing opinions and give all kinds of different potential interpretations, which may or may not be exactly what you had intended.
Right. Wow, you have a really good attention to detail. You're the first person that noticed that tiger.
You cut to it like 3 times. How could nobody else have noticed it?
No one else mentioned it, but yeah, my art director, she drew all that graffiti by hand. She was amazing, and I chose a tiger because that was the mascot of my high school back in Wisconsin, and it just kind of
Awesome.
makes sense that in the story I set up that this abandoned insane asylum was a place where all teenagers would hang out and get drunk and do drugs. So
Okay.
they would draw graffiti, and the high school mascot would be fair game.
I love that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the cinematography, I have to say thank you to John. He was our director of photography, and he is just he's amazing. I hope to do more projects with him. He's shot some of my commercials actually, so I do like working with him. He's a man of few words, and he expresses himself, through the camera. But yeah, Carlos, I definitely recommend finding a good cinematographer for your horror movie.
Yeah, that seems like it's like one of the biggest, most important steps, right? Because it's
Do you
a
have
visual
anyone in
movie.
mind already, or is that something you're still in the
I'm
stage of
I'm
searching?
still trying to figure all that out because I don't really have that many connections up here. So it all depends on what I do for funding and stuff, right? Who I can get or who I can talk to.
Definitely. Well, I can actually make some recommendations when you get to that stage.
Awesome.
I've been lucky enough to work with some crews from Toronto who shot in Los Angeles, so I know a couple camera guys.
Oh, really? Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and I have to say, crews from Toronto have been the friendliest people I've ever worked with compared to Hollywood crews. I think I know it's a stereotype, but the Canadian politeness, which I appreciate.
We've covered that a couple times on this show.
Mhm.
Sure, it's a stereotype. These people, even when they're being pretty rude, you're like, "Aw." I mean, yeah, I get you're upset, but that's nice. I mean, this is the most pleasant argument I've ever had. Okay, this is nice. So, Elaine, if you had like a dream of somebody you'd like to work with, who would that be?
Oh, that's a great question. You know, I would love to work with Aquafina. She,
Aquafina.
yeah, she's a former rapper, now actress, and I love her style. And she seems like someone that I could just enjoy hanging out with as a friend. And I think that's very important. You know, when you choose people you want to work with, you're going to be on set for 12 plus hours. So
Right.
you want to be with someone that you could be your friend, who could be your friend.
Yeah.
Our last conversation we had that was the last filmmaker, Patrick. He was telling us about that the culture on a set could be terrible, and you have to have somebody that's on your side just to make it through. And I never even thought of that. It just didn't occur to me at all, but it makes sense. You spend a lot of time together with these people, and whoever they are is who they are. So I guess it makes sense that when you can control that, to control it with people that you're comfortable with and that work well with you.
Yeah, I mean, that is the beauty of independent film. You have more creative control and you can hire people that you want to be around. You know, for my day job, I work as an assistant editor. And before that, I, you know, was a production assistant. And then I worked as an AD for, you know, television. And it's different because you get thrown into, you know, these jobs where it's a bunch of strangers. But after working together for like 12 plus hours a day, you become a family. And I think that's one thing I do love about the film industry.
That's excellent. This is the #1 place for macabrish cults, classics, and horrors. For synopsis, reviews, and news, go to macabrish.com. Thank you for listening. Signing out.